Hey guys, what's up? It's me, I'm going to be teaching you how to draw the dubstep gun from SR4. So, today's drawing tutorial, all you need is a simple pencil with an eraser, a handy dandy pencil sharpener, and this is optional, coloring pencils and a Sharpie if you want to color this beautiful weapon of music and dubstep and Skrillex. Alright, so, first step is find a good spot on your paper. This gun's going to take up pretty much the whole sheet. And what we're doing is making a basic shape for it. Now, of course, Saints Row, it's not realistic anymore, and it's more goofier. And of course, it'll have these science fiction type guns that have unique and wacky designs to them, and this is no exception. I mean, this is basically a gun that shoots out dubstep we're talking about here, and in the basic main body of the gun is a record player, which I think is freaking awesome. And also there's a bunch of little dials and chords, and it looks awesome. Alright, it just looks cool. So this contains pretty much rectangular shapes mostly, but it also have some round circular characteristics to it as well. Now you want to make that big circle in the middle, and you want to make the stock and also the little extension that's going out to the head of it, which, if you don't know what I'm talking about, that basically that little rectangular shape you see there is going to be the head of the gun, and that's where a speaker we're going to add into it as well. And as you can see, I'm fine-tuning my lines. I'm adding in any details I look off from the source image. So yeah, there's a bunch of square-like shapes, and when looking at this, you might think it's a complex thing to draw, but really it's not. It's actually fairly easy. It just really comes down to the simple shapes. And most of those simple shapes, like I said before, are pretty much rectangular, with a few exceptions of some circular characteristics and shapes. Now, right here are the little dials that you can, that are used for tuning up or raising the volume. And, add like a dynamic feel to the gun. Don't make every single dial the same place. And really, in the game, they have their own little personal decals. Like, there's this dubstep gun that's pink and has like purple flames on it, and there's like one that's like black and has like classical little music notes on it. So pretty much don't have to make a bland dubstep gun. Draw your own stuff. I mean, it's your drawing, your genius, your creativity. So go at it. So yeah, what I could observe from this drawing was a lot of holes to what appears to be speakers, or maybe, I don't know. This is kind of a weird but also really unique gun. And if you don't know where this is from SR4. So yeah, it's a video game. It's pretty goofy and wacky. So yeah. Now right here, I'm erasing. Now as you can see, it's not a perfect circle. It's kind of a little deformed here and there. But you see, it's pretty much just a basic circle. It's good enough. You don't need to make a perfect circle, so don't strive for days or hours on hours on hours trying to make a perfect circle. But if you want to make a good circle, just maybe grab a lid from a peanut butter jar, or just, something that's circular, and just place on your paper and trace around it. Now, me at the time, I didn't really have anything like that, so I just did it by just sketching little lines and making my way around making a complete circle. And maybe I will go more in depth with how I make a circle freehandedly in another video, because I make my circles freehand and they look alright. They don't look like deformed or quickly drawn on. But right now, this is of course going to be the little record we're making here. In the middle of it is it's like a kind of like a meter or something, or like maybe a dial or a timer, if you will. So you make 3 little circles on this timer, and you make a little, what's to appear like a little stick in the middle right here. And after you're done adding those little essential detailing, we're going to go ahead and make the rings that will pretty much form and indicate that there's a record player right here in the middle of the gun. So what I do for, like, you know, making it's basically just like making circles. It's just that you have, you know, less space and you're just narrowing them down. So just make rings, and now as you can see, they're not perfect. You see, guys, you don't have to be perfect with this, alright? So like I said before, don't strive on hours and hours and hours trying to make a perfect circle or a perfect ring. It's not gonna happen, alright? Unless, of course, you, like I said, you have a peanut butter jar, but, you know, the thing is, as we make more rings, the rings are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, so unless you have a convenient little jar lid or something circular for this type of segment of the drawing, then alright, yeah, you can use that. But for me, I like to freehand my stuff. You know, freehand my circles and shapes. Now right there, I erased a little spot. This is where we're going to have the needle, the little pin for the record. And of course this is going to attach over to those little dials and little levers, if you will, that we made previously. So yeah, I'll erase a little bit of the circle. Now, what I recommend is to make the whole record before you erase any spots, so you get a good perspective to where to put your little needle at. So we pretty much have the stock down pat and also the middle section of the gun as well. Now we're going down to the grip. Now the grip is pretty easy. There's a little kind of like a weird plastic trigger down the bottom. Kind of reminds me of a trigger from one of those old little classic Nintendo Power Blasters back in the day. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you might want to look it up on the internet or on YouTube, you know. But for the people that do know what I'm talking about, congrats. You actually remember the Nintendo Entertainment System. Well, a lot of people do. Now, looking back at this gun just now, kind of reminds me of maybe a rock band, or maybe or Skrillex would concoct, you know, basically just take a record and, you know, some metal scrap and just built it together, and like wires are hanging out, which you can tell in the drawing. There's like wires and all these little mechanisms coming together, and it just it doesn't look like your average U.S. Army issued assault rifle. But yeah, it looks like a really cool, goofy dubstep gun. Now, right by the record player, we're going to progress in making simple circular and also rectangular shapes. Now, what I did with the Murica gun that I did in celebration for 4th of July, I traced it around. I traced it with Sharpie, erased the pencil lines, and I colored it with colored pencils, which actually turned out pretty cool. Of course, it didn't look, you know, as accurate to the texture and to the shading of the actual source image, you know, but I liked how it turned out. It looked really cool, and it did look accurate to the actual Murica gun from Saints Row 4. And this is what we're going to do. This gun's also going to receive the same treatment. Well, it's optional for you. If you want to keep it black and white, or don't want to trace it over with Sharpie, that's completely optional, and you just want to, you know, color with coloring pencils, that's completely optional. But I like tracing it with Sharpie, which I will discuss a little further on, why I like tracing it with Sharpie than just going full out coloring it without using that little Sharpie technique. Now, of course, you got some more dials And you also will have to make some more chords here and there. So yeah, this gun is highly detailed in a lot of places, but also in a lot of other places it's just pretty much plain. But really, there doesn't really need to have to be, you know, that much going on, since this is a simple, goofy science fiction gun. Now, the head that I'm talking about right now is basically, it's like a rectangular little head that is connected to the extension right here that we're drawing right now. And that little extension, you're gonna make these little cords or wires, if you will, and it's going to connect to the head. And the head, basically, I'm gonna call it the head, or you know, the top of the gun. Not the top of the gun, but yeah, basically the head of the gun. And below it has a little speaker, and you can consider it as its barrel, you know, even though it doesn't really have the form of a barrel, but it's pretty much the end where it shoots out the little rays or beams of dubstep. And once you pull the trigger and see the beams fly out, people start dancing. And maybe explode. I'm not too sure. I have played Saints Row 4, but I haven't really... No, yeah, I think... Yeah, they just dance around. I don't know if they explode. Don't know about that part, but I guess I'll have to find out by playing the game more. But yeah, drawing these chords reminded me of, like, amplifiers to a bass or something. So yeah, this definitely looks like some kind of mad scientist creation that Skrillex would make. I mean, it looks really cool. Now, of course, I actually do like the America gun better because it had a lot more detailing and there's a lot of stuff I could, you know, draw. And more stuff to draw for me is the better, because I love drawing stuff. But also, you know, simple stuff is also a lot... Drawing simple stuff is really cool, like drawing Rayman or Pac-Man. I love drawing those as well. But I always enjoy drawing something that has a lot of detail and a lot going on with it. So guys, have you played Saints Row 4? What do you think of it? And do you think there's going to be a Saints Row 5 coming out anytime soon? Let me know in the comments section below. So of course guys, if there's any rough sketch lines that you left over, you can leave them, but you can leave them if you are planning to trace over them with a Sharpie, but if you're not planning to, then go ahead and erase them now. So pretty simple. Everything consists of either a rectangular shape or a circular shape. And like I said, you know, if you have trouble making those rings or those circles, and you're that kind of person that applies a lot of pressure to the pencil, and you know, you can't really help yourself, and once you do, you make these really dark markings on your paper, and of course when you make really rough, dark markings on your paper and you try to erase them, you can, you know, as much as you know, it doesn't matter how much you erase it, there's still going to be a really ugly black smudge on your paper. Now what I would recommend for you is practice on, you know, on some like another sheet of paper, or maybe some other sketchbook paper or notebook paper, and just practice making those little rings. And then, you know, if you're not good with making smaller rings, you know, you're only really comfortable making one size ring, then just keep practicing and gradually getting smaller and smaller with your circles and rings. And that's going to apply with any shape. But for, you know, the shape that I would think that people have the most trouble with is the circle, of course, because a square, you know, just simple rectangular lines just coming together, but a circle, you know, it has its own form, has its own opening, you know, and it's really hard to get it actually, you know, really a good a sphere-like shape by doing it freehandedly. So yeah, guys, try that out, and please tell me in the comments below how that worked out for you. I'm always here to help. So yeah, that what you just saw right there, I went over it with Sharpie, and I erased all the pencil lines right there. So yeah, I erased all the pencil lines. Well, what you want to do is, once you trace it all with Sharpie, if you are going to trace it with Sharpie, is take your eraser, erase all the pencil lines, if you want to. And once you do this, it kind of reminds me of like a coloring book illustration before, you know, a kid colors it. So yeah, it looks really neat, and yeah, so you know, you don't have to erase every single line, but erase most of your pencil lines if you want to get this type of look for it. And it's perfect doing it by with colored pencils. So, you know, once you trace it and erase all the pencil lines and then go over with colored pencils, it looks awesome. So yeah, this is the same thing I did with the America gun. Sorry, I can't talk. Yeah, same thing I did with the America gun. Traced over Sharpie, colored it. So yeah. Now you might not see this very often. For Saints Row guns, then yeah, you probably will see it, because you know, for these wacky guns, I kind of like to add, you know, some color and stuff to that, because, you know, making a black and white dubstep gun doesn't seem, you know, because when I make black and white drawings, I kind of want to be like, you know, serious. Black and white is like the serious tone I want to make for this drawing, and so yeah, it doesn't really look too, yeah, but black and white wouldn't look too serious for this gun, since it's a wacky, stupid science fiction gun. So yeah, guys, the colored pencils that I use is blue, yellow, and red, and also a little bit of green. But yeah, you can actually use any colors that you want. It's really up to you. Make it pink, make it all